Hi everyone, it's Vicky here from Dublin Maker, back again with our Maker of the Day. From the Dublin Maker team, we have Tomas Ward and Laura Tobin. For those who don't know,
Hello, everyone.
yeah. So for those of you who don't know who Dublin Maker are, we run the annual Maker Festival. Unfortunately, this year due to COVID, we had to postpone to next summer. So, but we do miss all the makers, so we decided to do smaller events like these Maker Days during Science Week. Would Tomas and Laura like to say a few words before I introduce Chris?
Welcome, everyone. Looking forward to this. I have a load of straws to take part with.
There's paper. You don't need straws.
Oh, that's
Oh dear.
That's even better. I do have paper. Straws is well, that's a more challenging thing in this house. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. As usual, I'm badly prepared. I'm just gonna parachute it in here, so I'm going to be whatever happens. It's going to be surprising for me anyway, Chris.
Good. That's what we like.
So for anyone who has any questions, post them and live chat on our YouTube video today. It's all been live streamed, and the video will be made available after this session. And so without further ado, I will introduce Chris Reina from MakerMeet, we've been doing collaborating on various events together, and they've been regular Dublin Maker participants as well. And he is challenging everyone to make a paper tower. But I will let Chris explain everything. and
All right. So I'll start off. So bear with me for just 1 second because we're doing a funny technical thing here. Where I'm actually streaming to 2 places at one time, so I have to start a second stream. So just bear with me for 1 second, and then we'll start with everybody. So, now, welcome everybody. So my name is Chris Reina, and I'm with MakerMeet. So we do educational workshops in schools, and this is Science Week 2020. And much like many other things, unfortunately, there is no going into schools and doing workshops because of lockdown and staying safe and staying in our own places in our own homes. So we've decided to try and do things online. And while we can't do everything online, not everything is suitable. I suppose we're doing as much as we can online. And in terms of that, so we've put together the Paper Tower Challenge, which we're going to start very shortly. So there's all different aspects of science for Science Week. There's biological science, there's chemical science, engineering science, computer science, all kinds of things like that. And in fact, what we're going to be doing is more kind of engineering project today, but it's an extremely simple project. So I'd like to welcome everyone else who is joining us, because not only are we streaming here to Dublin Maker, but we're also streaming to various other schools around the country as well too. So a lot of people have joined in. So welcome to everybody. And just to start off, the only thing you're going to need for this project is A4 paper. In fact, it doesn't even have to be A4, it can be any size paper, but just regular paper. That's all you need for this, is just regular paper. So this challenge, I suppose it's worth saying, is that this isn't something that we came up with. Many things we don't come up with, but we do borrow. We borrow them is what we do. We borrow these kind of things, challenges, and then we pass them on to other people. So the only other thing you might need for this is some sort of a weight. Now it doesn't really matter what the weight is. We kind of recommend maybe 100-gram bag of rice. Okay, something around that weight. Okay, so let's say most bags of sugar and big bags of rice would be 1 kilogram. Okay, so that would be too heavy probably. It doesn't have to be that. It could be a very light paperback book or something like that as well. That's all you're going to need for this challenge. So we've done this challenge many places. So we've done this challenge in Microsoft in Dublin. We've done this challenge in Maker Faire Rome. We've done it in many, many places, and we've always been surprised at the results. So if you're in a school or if you're watching online, gather up 10 sheets of paper. That's all you need, is 10 sheets of paper. And once you have those 10 sheets of paper, what we're going to do is we're going to try and build the tallest tower that you can. Now, there is one caveat to all of this, and that is you may only use the paper, nothing else. You cannot use any sellotape, you can't use blue tack, you can't use glue, you can't use staples, you can't use anything else. So you have to try and build the tallest possible tower just using the paper. So I'm going to help you with that. So I'll give you a couple of tips and hints to go along. So obviously, a piece of paper on its own, I have a piece of paper here, single piece of paper on its own simply doesn't stand up. It falls over. We know this, okay? So your task is to try and find a shape. Try and find a shape that would make this piece of paper hold some weight. So the first shape I'm going to offer to you is a tube or a circle. So if you just take your piece of paper and just roll it. So just roll it up. Roll it like that. Now, you have a tube, you put it down. Now, when you let go of that, it's going to stand. But if you wait a moment, it's happening here for me anyway, it might happen for you or it might not, depends on how tight you roll the paper, it's gonna start to become very loose. So you can see that, I think you can probably see that the paper is open there. So if you test that with my weight, I think I know what's gonna happen, and I think you know what's gonna happen, which is it's not gonna hold anything. So that's all right. Go a little bit further. Take the same piece of paper and roll it again. Maybe this time roll it a bit tighter than you did before, so that it doesn't open. So roll that paper. And I'll just show you a little trick if I can. So once you have that rolled, okay, if you can see that, once you have that rolled up, okay, if you hold that paper and you turn each hand one at a time, you'll actually start to tighten that paper even more. So that's all you have to do, is just keep doing that. And in fact, what happens is your tube starts to become much tighter. Now, when I put it down and let go, I have a very small tube. And let's see what happens with my weight for that. If I place my weight on there nice and gently, it will hold. So if you've been able to do that, you have already started to make a tower. And that tower is already, in fact, one A4 sheet of paper tall. So if you don't know how tall it is, you may need a ruler. I have a yardstick here, which is a very useful thing. So there we go. So I can tell you that that is 21 centimeters tall. I'm going to turn it around that way. Actually, it makes more sense. I'm looking at it. So that's 21 centimeters tall at the moment. If you roll the paper the other way, it's going to be almost 30 centimeters tall. Okay, so now put my ruler down. So that's one. That's just a test. Think of other shapes that you might be able to make with a piece of paper. So I have another piece of paper. I'm going to offer you up a different shape. Just take that piece of paper and fold it in half. Just fold it exactly in half. And if you place that, that will stand. Well, that didn't stand. We open it a little bit, it will definitely stand. And there we go. Now, if I lay my rice on that, it almost holds it, but doesn't quite hold it. So take that same piece of paper that you folded this way and fold it in half again this way. Okay. And crease the edges here. So I'm using my fingernails just to crease the edges there. Okay. Like that. So now I have a piece of paper that's folded in half that way and that way. So I have 4 different panels on my paper, and that stands really well. So that's kind of what it looks like. So what I want you to do is take one of those panels and just fold it in, and you're going to try and create a box. So just fold that in. So now, if I hold that up, you'd have a square. So you'd have a square, and you can try putting your weight on the square to see if that holds. And again, with a little bit of luck, a little bit of trying, it might hold, but it's a little bit better, but still not fantastic. Now, watch this. Take that square and put 2 of the sheets of paper together and make a triangle. Okay, so make a triangle. Now, put your triangle down and put the weight on top and see if that will hold. I would be very willing to bet it will hold even a little bit better. But you're going to have one failing, I think. So there's mine holding. Okay, so there's mine holding, and that's okay. But sometimes, if I move that a little bit, yeah, it will collapse. So the challenge was that you weren't allowed to use any tape, any glue, any adhesives of any sort, no staples or nothing. But I did not say that you weren't allowed to just use the paper. So watch this. For your triangle, where the 2 edges of the paper meet, I just want you to put a little tear in that. Just put a tear, small little tear there, and then put another little tear right next to it. So you've got a tear of just about 1 centimeter maybe. That's all. And fold that down. Just crease it down so it looks like that. And turn it over and do exactly the same thing at the other side. Where the 2 sheets meet, put a wee little tear, and then next to it, put another little tear, and just fold that down. And what you've done is you have effectively locked those sheets of paper together. So now, when you put it down, I think you can very confidently put that bag of rice on top, and it absolutely will not fall. In fact, I would even offer up to you to try a little bit heavier weights if you have other things around you. Okay, so that's a good 1 level to start with. That's a good 1 level, but we want to see how high we can get. That's the challenge. We want to see how high we can actually get your tower to go. So you have 10 sheets to work with. So I'm going to offer again to you, keep going with that particular shape. Keep going with a triangle. A triangle is a really good shape. So if you make 2 triangles, and again, you can start doing that by folding a single piece of paper just in half. As you can see, I've just folded that in half. Fold that in half again. Same as we did before. Let's fold it in half again. Open that out all the way. And you have 4 panels. Fold one of those panels back in, and then make a triangle. Just like that, make your triangle. Okay, and lock that paper into place. Just a little tear, another little tear. Fold it down, turn that over. Another tear on the opposite side, another tear there. Fold that down. So now what I have is, I have 2 triangles. So that's only 2 sheets of paper. So what you can certainly do is take another sheet of paper. You have 10 sheets of paper to work with. Full sheet, just fold that in half. And that will strengthen that single piece of paper a little bit more. And you can play with how far apart these will go. Okay, I'm going to put them about that far apart. That's maybe about 5-10 centimeters. I'm going to put that sheet of paper on top. Now we suddenly have quite strong bridge. I'll gently place my rice on top, and that holds it very well. If you want to push your triangles together a little bit, you might find that's even stronger. In fact, I would suggest to you it's so strong that I'll be brave enough to go to about here and drop it on, and it will still hold it fine. That doesn't always work, by the way. Half the time I drop it on, it just falls over. But it worked in this instance, so that's good. So you can continue with that, making triangles. If you grab another sheet of paper, fold in half, fold in half again, same as before. So you have that. Open that up. Fold one over. Put those together to make a triangle. Put your little tears in either side just to lock that paper together. Just to lock it together like that. And other side, put a little tear. Another little tear. Lock it together, and you can put that on top. And suddenly you're going up to 2 levels, exactly the same. And continue on with that way. Make a 4th triangle, just like that. I would mention as well, it's good when if you fold the paper just like that very loosely, you'll find it opens. It will actually work much better for you if you really kind of crease that paper very well. So if you put a very sharp crease in the paper, it will work very well. So for any teachers out there and for parents at home, perhaps who are from Dublin Maker, never mind those electronic things you can give your kids for Christmas. Trust me, just bits of paper. In my day, we had to walk to school in the snow with no shoes. We were lucky to have paper. Now we put that one in there. And the same idea. Another sheet of paper, fold that in half. And place that on top. And suddenly we're going to run out of room on my camera. And I can only see my nose over that, I know. We put your bag of rice on top again, and you're up to 2 levels. So we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sheets of paper. So you have another 4 sheets of paper. So you should be able to make another 2 triangles and another one on top to use 3 sheets. And that will certainly bring you up to 3 levels. And those 3 levels, said he, getting out his ruler, are going to bring you up certainly, well, the 2 of them will bring you up to 42 centimeters. Or whatever that is in inches, I don't know what that is, 16 inches, roughly, 17 inches maybe. And then a 3rd one will bring you up to 63 centimeters. So that's quite tall. But at this point, I'm going to take those off. I'm just going to move those over there, and those over there, and those over there, so we can go back and you can see me again. So that's a few ways to make a tower, but that's not the only way. So clearly, if we had an adhesive of some sort, if we were allowed to use glue, or if we were allowed to use sellotape or anything like that, we could make our paper a lot stronger and build the tower a lot stronger. So I invite you, not at the moment, but I invite you in the future to be able to do that. Try using some adhesives, see what works better. Would glue work better? Would blue tack work better? Would sellotape work better? Would staples work better? Or if you want to really challenge yourself, number 1, use a heavier weight. Number 2, try a different configuration or a different shape of the paper. So as an example, let me give you another idea. So do you remember when we first took our tube? And the tube, the first time we did it, the tube opened kind of like that, and it didn't sit very well. So what you could always do is, if we had some string or some twine, we could tie it together so it wouldn't open. And we don't have any string or twine, and we're not allowed to use string or twine. We do have sheets of paper. Believe it or not, sheets of paper will make string and twine. All you have to do is very carefully, and you can fold this, would be a little bit easier. I'm just going to tear it. If you tear, it's in carefully down. Some strips. Like that. You can use those to make something to tie it together. And all you have to do that is crumple it up. Just crumple it up. Take another sheet, crumple it up. Then put them together and tie it just like you would anything else. Now, you do have to be a little bit careful, of course, because it's only paper. If you pull it too hard or too tight, it will tear because it's only paper. But still in all, once you do it, get it there. There we go. So now I have something that will tie it together. And I still have, out of that one sheet of paper, another 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that I can use to tie together. And this one piece will certainly, quite happily, go around our tube to hold it together. There we go. So you can see that. So that's just holding it. That's a bit of paper tied around it just to hold it together. And now again, get those out of the way. I take my bag of rice. Very, very sturdy as well. So that's another way to do it. Yet another way to do it is if you were to take a sheet of paper and like before, like we rolled into a tube before, we could roll it into a tube. However, in this case, rather than having just a plain tube, what you could do is you could let that open a little bit maybe, and then at one side where the paper is coming up, put a wee tear in there. Again, that will just hold it. But the other side, don't put a tear into. And there, okay, so you can see how that's starting to open down here because we didn't put a tear to hold it together. Just open that out. And then, so you have something that starts to look like very large at one end and it's small at the other end. So it looks like a megaphone looking type of a thing. Fold out the paper at the bottom to make it sit flat. Oh, my paper came apart at the top. That's all right. And fold that over again. So that can sit flat. Okay, so that can sit flat. I push it down. Maybe I need something to tie it together to hold it. So it's not holding very well at the top. But what you can do, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get this just to sit flat. And the reason that you're trying to do that is because the challenge was to make the tallest one. And you have a limited amount of paper in which to do that. So if you could use all 10 or even 9 sheets of paper, then clearly your tower would be very, very tall. So now that I have that, almost flat anyway, not quite flat, nearly flat, but what I have is I have a large circumference or a large roundy bit, well, not quite very round at the bottom, and a small at the top. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take another piece of paper, because I still have a few left. All I have to do is take this one, roll it up a little bit, just a little bit, as a tube, and that one will just sit in there. A little bit more, a little bit tighter at one side, and I'll just sit in there. The reason I'm showing you all of these is just to show you that there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So just stacking it and just folding it into certain shapes isn't always the only way to do it. Right? It's not always the only way to do it. There we go. So now that's suddenly very tall. Another sheet, very quickly, do exactly the same thing. Let's go there. And now that will also sit in there. And you can't see that, but that's already very, very tall here. That's already very, very tall. Now, the only problem is, of course, would it hold that bag of weight? Well, it's unlikely that it will. But that's where you can work on perhaps using another sheet with some of the strips that we had to make a little bit of kind of twine or rope to hold that around and strengthen it there as well too. So that's all just to show you there's lots and lots of ways, and different shapes are stronger than other shapes. So we had tubes, we had squares, we had triangles. So think of other shapes that are very, very strong. So for instance, think of oftentimes in farms out in the country, sometimes in the city, you have a certain type of roof and it's a wavy shape like this. It's called corrugated, and it's often made from either plastic or thin metal, but it's very, very strong because of the shape that it is. You could try making something like that as well too. So there's lots and lots of different shapes. There's also what's called an accordion fold. So we have a piece of paper here that we used before. I'll show you this last one and then you can work away. So I folded that in half. So I'm going to continue to fold that in half. I'm going to fold that in half one more time. And then I'm going to fold it in half one more time. So it's that size now. So we go one more. Do that size now. And we could theoretically, maybe we'll try one more just to see. It's not going to be easy, but because the paper is very thick, but we'll try one more. And there we go. Yes. So now I've folded that piece of paper to that width. So when I open that up, you will see that I have an accordion shape. Grab the two ends and open that out. So I have kind of an accordion shaped paper there now. And that actually as well would be quite strong as well. That will have some tensile strength to it. So you can try that as well. So there's lots of different ways to fold paper, and that's the challenge to you. So I'm sure you've been following along and you've tried all those different things. So in terms of that, keep trying. Paper is readily available. It's easy to get a hold of. It doesn't have to be plain paper. It doesn't have to be white paper. It doesn't have to be A4 size paper. You can try different shapes of papers as well too, just to see what works and to see what doesn't. But that is your challenge. And that was our challenge for today, is just to see the highest tower that you could make. So there's for the people watching along on our website, down in the bottom corner, there's a wee chat function there. If you click on that, tell us what the height you got to. If you measure it, tell us what height you got to. I can tell you previously that we got someone that got to just about a meter in height. So just about a meter, a little bit over 3 feet, which was quite tall. They did very, very good. So tell us what height you got to. For those following along with Dublin Maker and things like that, again, there's a live chat function on YouTube. So please feel free to throw chats in there and I can answer questions or have a chat with you and things like that as well. So, but apart from that, that is the end of our Paper Tower Challenge. So I know it's a very simple thing and it seems very straightforward, but it's a good bit of fun just to do as well. And I suppose the other thing as well, and I kind of tweeted this last night with one of my colleagues, Hassan, is that very often, certainly for me, when I create projects and things like that, I tend to overcomplicate. I make the projects quite difficult because I think that's the right way to do it. Invariably, it's not the correct way to do it. To simplify projects and things like that is often far better. To take elements out of it, to make it a simpler project will make it generally more successful. And part of this kind of a challenge is doing that very thing, is to make projects a little bit simpler in order to make them more successful. And it allows me to learn from that as well too. So thank you very much for watching along. As I say, I'll still be here for the live stream. We can answer questions, things like that. But apart from that, as always, as we have our catchphrase, which is just to engage, to explore, and to enjoy. So this is Chris Reina from MakerMeet, just for the moment, signing off. So we'll open it up to questions and things like that and chats, and I'll turn things back on there. Now.
Oh, thank you, Chris. That was cool.
No worries at all. Thank you very much. That was great.
I wasn't participating, but I was like taking pictures like crazy and all your tips and stuff. But I still, the paper there. I'm still wondering about that. Paper's twine, that is slightly cheating because it's still twine and string in the word there.
But there was no rule. It was just paper, you see. Just paper. You're only allowed to use just paper. If you choose to make twine out of it, so be it.
I noticed that Jeffrey is on level 1, and Tomas, you said your level 1 is still just your comfort zone.
I was able to hold up my phone, 200 grams this phone, and I was pretty amazed because I also had a cup of coffee beside it, and I was going to say, if this tower collapses,
don't do the coffee, whatever you do. Bad idea. Yeah, don't do the coffee.
My phone will dunk into my coffee, spill on my laptop. complete catastrophe. But I know it held up. It held up. Chris, I was going to say, and do people experiment much with the, I suppose, the surface they put it on? I put it on a grainy table, and that had a bit of friction on it, and I think that helped it, maybe not slide so much before I put it on your little fastener thing. Carpet might be a good surface or a bad surface. I don't know. What have you?
No, good surface. Yeah, good, because again, just the friction is very, very helpful as well. So, I suppose in terms of this, and I've stopped the live stream for students and things. There's just time. It's a very difficult thing to go through, but that is one of the main points of it, is to teach strength of limited objects, I suppose, and friction is one of those things as well too. As you say, carpet, it would certainly be far better for me. I've shot myself in the foot because I'm on a very, very smooth surface. This table is really smooth, but it's okay. I mean, I've done it before, so I'm familiar with that, so it's all right. The other thing as well, which is often very good, as you say, where is it going to? Yeah, which is that. So if you put a layer in between, oftentimes when you do something along those lines, you don't have to even fold it in half. It becomes much stronger that way. It's much stronger.
Yeah, that's what I ended up trying actually. Then I was corrugating, thinking of cardboard.
Yeah, and, exactly. That's exactly what it is, because cardboard is very strong. You see, that's why they made that way.
Yeah, but I guess you know what, you might have to add in a category for aesthetic. Because when you corrugate it and tie rough bits of paper together, it's beginning to look a little bit loses its elegance, put it that way.
Yeah, of course.
So there's a category there, an architectural score as well.
Start introducing origami in there or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That'll be advanced.
You know I'll throw this up there because it's worth noting that. For 1 second. So yeah, I have the link here. So again, as I mentioned, this is not our, put this into the chat, if you can throw it on then. This isn't our idea, if you know what I mean. So we didn't come up with this, basically. There you go. So there is a, sorry, I'm trying to remember now, is it UCD, I think, or it is UCD, yeah, it's UCD. That's what they do. So UCD do this actually for their engineering students. So there's a video. I've just thrown the YouTube link in the video. So literally in third level, like there's a lecture in third level in engineering. This is exactly I think they give them a little bit more paper and they put them in groups and things like that. But it's literally exactly the same thing they do in order to teach them about all of those concepts and precepts. Is they say, right, there's 10 pieces of paper. Go out into the hallway, make me a big tall tower. Off you go.
Yeah.
And the students are going, what?
Yeah, and let's hope David McKeown, our prof from UCD Mechanical Engineering, part of the Dublin Maker team. Maybe he's maybe he's involved, maybe he's not, but maybe he'd be interested in that. And actually, on that, I was just thinking of my 9-year-old who loves these kind of paper projects. Any bridge projects? He loves building bridges and seeing kind of support.
Yeah, well, have you one thing to do? Actually, I'll give you a great bridge project, Tomas. So, have you heard of a Da Vinci bridge?
Nope.
So Da Vinci, you know Da Vinci, of course, the philosopher and the architect and the poet and the designer and the lots of different things.
Yeah, the engineer.
Yeah. Engineer, exactly. Yeah. So he in one of his sketches, in one of his drawings, he sketched, never built it, but he sketched a bridge that was self-supporting, that didn't need glue, screws, joins, anything, didn't need any of that. And people, in the meantime, going through his notebooks and things, found the sketches, and many people have built the bridge. It's worth Googling just to look up. So, but you can make a Da Vinci bridge out of literally just pencils, unsharpened is a better idea, but just pencils and elastic bands. That's all you need. I think you need, it's like 12 pencils and 20 elastic bands or something like that. I can't remember. But the elastic bands don't even hold the pencils together. They're only there to, again, in terms of friction, to stop one pencil sliding off the other one. That's the only reason that the elastic bands are actually used. And it will support easily up to 1 kg. To
Wow.
be fair, the thing I've supported the most doing it is my drill case. So my hand drill, which is, it's a fairly chunky, heavy case. I would say it's a good 3 or 4 kgs actually. And it supported that quite fine. With just a few pencils, literally nothing holding it together. No glue, nothing tied, no elastic bands. The elastic bands, again, are only to stop one pencil sliding against another. So it's a brilliant project, actually. It's a really brilliant project to do. And it just requires a 9-year-old would be perfect, because it requires just a little bit of patience to try and get it to the things to hold just at the right angles and stuff like that. It's a really good project, actually, really good project.
So Da Vinci designed it on paper, but never actually built it, right?
Yeah, he drew it out on paper. Yeah, it was in his notebooks. He drew it on paper, but never actually built it. But other people found it. And in fact, it's actually only a little tiny drawing in one of his notebooks. It's not even explained particularly well, so it's worth. And actually, just as another look, I'm being really nerdy now, I know, but there's a really amazing they've taken all of his notebooks. So there's a thing called the Codex, the Da Vinci Codex, and there's a website that has every single page in full high resolution, and you can literally just flip through all the pages, and they have everything on the page translated so that you can go to a specific section in all of his journals and his books and everything. It's quite fascinating, actually. There's a lot of really good information there, really good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good tip. It'd be interesting to see that bridge. I guess it's not surprising it didn't see the light of day. You could imagine Da Vinci pitching this bridge project to the engineering team.
With nothing to hold it together, Yeah.
Stop supporting.
It's mad stuff.
We're going to take your word for it, Leonardo. But we're not.
Yeah, thanks very much, Leonardo. Yeah, we'll stick with the screws, I think. Yeah.
I see Jeffrey's gone up to level 2. He also asked, does it count if he holds it with his hand?
He doesn't. He knows the answer to that question. He doesn't have to ask that. He knows it doesn't count if he holds it with his hand. He knows very well it doesn't count.
Well, yeah, he's up to level 2, but he's not sure it's going to last. But I held my breath when you dropped that bag of rice, and you went like this, and you dropped.
Yeah, but as I said, it doesn't always work, but when it does, it's quite impressive, all right, because people go, oh wow, that can actually, it's not just gently placing it. Yeah, you can.
I can see my nephews not doing that. They'll probably try and just throw it on top.
Knock it down. Yeah. But that's. But even again, even part of that, I made a game. I'm not very keen on kind of shooting things or shooting games. They're just not my thing. But I made a game with the Nerf dart guns. It's just a bit of fun. Just a cardboard box, toilet roll holders, and paper towel holders. Take the cardboard box, turn it upside down, cut a hole in it, put those things in it, and put, the very light, not tennis balls, but the very light kind of hollow plastic balls. And it makes an absolutely brilliant game to shoot Nerf darts at, to knock the balls off.
Ping pong balls would be very hard for kids, to be honest. It'd be hard for adults.
But that's okay. I think hard is good. That's not a problem. That's something not everything should be easy. You should work towards stuff to make stuff hard. I think that's a good idea. I think that's good. So yeah, so all different things you can do, basically, loads of stuff. As always, as I mentioned before, Christmas time. Look, it's an old adage. I didn't make it up, but it is absolutely true. Which is, you give a child an amazing present. It costs loads of money, electronic. It's really clever, all this kind of stuff, and they play with the box because that's where the imagination lies.
Yeah, for sure.
And it is true. It is true. So.
Hey Laura, how are you getting on? Did you manage to build something there?
Yes, it's huge. It's pity I don't have a camera. It's 7 foot.
That's okay. I'm sure actually your phone is there, Laura, so you could take a picture and tweet it out to us.
I could, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to send around a verification team there, Laura.
Yeah. They'll be there any second, actually.
I'll be like Mary Fitzgerald. Here's one I made earlier.
Yeah. I want to see Jeffrey's one is what I want to see.
Now, mine's in 2D. Does that matter?
You mean it's lying flat on the floor and you're taking a photograph from above?
Yes.
I see. I love that, Laura, like the Pringle challenge. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Have you done the Pringle challenge? Because I think they'll send you out Pringles if you take a photo of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I've never taken a photo of it and tweeted it, but of course.
They'll send you Pringles if you make something with Pringles.
Yeah, you get, the shape of the Pringles. If you can turn them into a ring that stands up, and
box or the chips themselves?
The chips themselves.
The
They
one-
balance. Now you have to go a couple of layers out, like how you stack them, but you can get them up and around. I think somebody did it on the internet once,
Sure.
and
yeah.
then people tried to copy it. So Pringles came on board, and they're like, "If you can do it, we'll send you out some free Pringles."
That's cool.
Double check that out.
I'd be more impressed if somebody could do it with, I don't know, chipsticks or some potato or
Yeah.
some
Potatoes
a
would be
regular.
hard.
Yeah, if you can do it with a bag of potatoes, that'd really be impressive. Like, yeah. But actually, but the Pringles are a really good shape to do that with as well. Like you can, I've certainly never done a ring with them, but I can see how that would work. But I have done the duck mouth, if you know what I mean. So 2 Pringles in your mouth, and then stack on that, and like it stacks up, but it goes, it very quickly starts to rise, and it's untenable after that. You can only get about 10 or 20 in your mouth at one time. I mean, stacked at one time. Yeah. The other thing you can do with Pringles, just as a complete ridiculous thing as well, the other thing you can do with Pringles is you can, if you melt chocolate, if this is to someone's taste, and you just open the can of Pringles, a small can, not a big one, and pour your melted chocolate into the can of Pringles and let it cool. You have literally chocolate covered Pringles.
Oh wow!
Which is, your salt and your sweet together, which is fab. Not that
I'm
I've
very
ever.
hungry right now with all the talk.
I've never done
yeah.
that. Of course, I never do such a thing.
This week's Dublin Maker, proudly sponsored by
By Pringles,
On
yeah.
board Bia.
Yeah, by board. I'm not sure board B would really be on board with that, but
Big Chips has got to us,
So yeah, I wonder whether if Jeffrey, it was level 3 on his way down. Great if he could send pictures.
yeah,
he gets a
that'd be
running
cool,
commentary on live chat. But yeah, cool. So is there any other questions people want to ask on live chat? But did he forget there?
We probably gather some comments once online.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of tweet out. Sean is going to try and make a chocolate Pringles now. Oh my god, I'm so hungry.
I'll give you another recipe. Just for, as we're on food, I know this was supposed to be a paper tower challenge and everything, but I'll give you another really good recipe because again, it's science and it's Science Week, so it's worth. I feel it's loosely tied in, but it is science. So I sometimes do workshops in food. So I'm sure that there's probably some scientific fact which I don't know about, but so I would classify food into either baking or cooking. And in cooking is all about art. So cooking is art, cooking is about flavor, but baking is about science. Because in baking, you must get the ratios correct and you must get the quantities correct. Otherwise, the recipe entirely falls apart, in most things anyway. So one of the favorite recipes I do with small kids, very small kids, like as in 6-7-year-olds, easy, is I get them to make kind of a bread or a cake, right? And it's only 2 ingredients, right? So it's flour and ice cream.
Oh, that's you pulled it out of the fire there.
I'm telling you,
ice cream, right?
all you do is you get ice cream, you let it melt, you mix in your flour, you bung it into a pan, you bung it into the oven for 20 to 30 minutes, you get a beautiful, moist cake.
That's a great invention. And
I did not even expect you saying ice cream there. I was waiting for water or something.
Yeah,
what I think about that thing, the ice cream can hide all sorts of things. Like what if you had cookies and cream ice cream, or
I'll tell you, but you know what happens actually? So if it has chunks of cookies and cream, the chunks stay.
It will have that, yes.
But if you have chocolate ice cream and you use chocolate ice cream, you don't get chocolate cake.
Well, that's
the flavor of it disappears. It's amazing, actually. You don't. So the only thing you can do is add in, like any cake, you could add in, jam or chocolate chips or sprinkles or whatever you want into it, and that will give it flavor. But other than that, it generally comes out plain. Even chocolate ice cream will give you a plain cake.
Do you know what? This sounds like a repeatable experiment that we need to do.
Yeah, I frequently repeat it, in fact. Yeah.
It's a rush out now from all the Dublin Maker team rushes out to buy lots of ice cream.
Lots of ice cream.
For sake of
And
science.
Pringles and chocolate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We have a couple of questions. We have a couple of questions there. Oh, hi Jenny. Have you seen the human tower in Tarragona, Spain? What is Tarragona, Spain? What's the human tower in Tarragona, Spain? I haven't heard of that.
No,
Or
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, it sounds brilliant.
Yeah. Maybe you can tell us more about that, Jenny. And does it? And Sean. Hi, Sean. Does it need to be self-raising flour? Because I'm trying this too. Okay.
There you go. I've just thrown a link up actually into our chat there. You can pass it on, Vicky.
All right, I'll pass it on there. Yeah.
There has to be a question about Doritos. That's a good shape. Can you do anything with Doritos, Chris?
No, I've never been able to open a pack of Doritos and not eat the whole pack. It's just not possible. But yeah, I've never done anything with Doritos. But again, the triangular shape would be perfect. Yeah, to do something. Really would. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a combination of Doritos, hula hoops, and chipsticks. That's all the basic building blocks.
Oh, I love that, Tomas. I love that. That's now you're talking circular shape, triangular shape. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
We got it all. Yeah.
And if you could actually build it around me, and I'll eat my way out.
It'd be the edible Meccano.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. Like, yeah, just fantastic.
Yeah, you make me want lunch now. I haven't had lunch yet.
Quite right. Yeah.
I think I posted the wrong YouTube link there. I'll do it. Repost that YouTube link you sent there earlier, there, Chris.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, so again, I suppose, yeah, just the paper tower, yeah, for that. It's just a thing, especially for parents and kids. It's something to while away an hour basically with them. And then I suppose in terms of education and things like that, like they are actually learning proper engineering concepts. Whether they know them or not, or whether as a parent or an adult you explain it to them or not, isn't actually relevant. Well, in my opinion, it's not relevant. But because they're learning them nonetheless, and they're learning about weight, they're learning about pressure, they're learning about friction, they're learning about all of these things, and they're really good things for young students to understand in terms of stacking, in terms of all that kind of stuff. I mean, any teacher in primary school will certainly tell you that's part of it. That hand-eye coordination, all of that is part of the curriculum. It's part of the curriculum that they need to do.
Yeah. Also, I love what this particular project is just the trial and error. Yeah. There's a lot of trial and error, and it kind of it's a wonderful kind of setup for doing that. And
the failing is good because it's easy to do it quickly and fail. And in my opinion, that's excellent. That's really good. It should fall down all the time. It really should. And then if you expand on the project by actually saying to them, look, you can have unlimited paper. I don't care. As much paper as you want. See how tall you can make it. Get it to the ceiling if you can, with no tape, no glue, nothing. And that's brilliant because like some kids will rise to that challenge and you'll come up to find a big tall tower in the same room. Like, brilliant.
Okay. Just a little bit more from Jenny about the human tower. It's people stand on each other's shoulders and create a tower. Dates back to medieval times, all based on balance, weight, and human agility.
That reminds me of the Simpsons episode. Remember when the Springfield was going for the world record for the Guinness World Records, and they built a tower, but they ended up having the world record for America's fattest town.
My apologies.
I love that episode.
I don't know if I saw that episode. I can't remember.
Oh, it's a classic.
Oh, I have one from Lucy Fort. Hi, my fourth class are wondering what is the tallest tower that you've ever made out of paper without glue and so on. We had great fun here. Thanks.
Cool. But yeah, so 3 meters was the tallest I ever did. And I didn't do it, to be fair. Again, I didn't do it myself, but I had someone do it. Very interestingly, we were in Microsoft in Dublin, must be 3 years ago now, for the EU, what was it called? The EU Science Student of the Year. It was a competition. It's run in the EU and things like that. And there was 150 teenagers there of varying ages, kind of maybe 14, 15, up to 18, and their parents. And we did this for the 150 teenagers and the 100 parents. So about 250 people doing it. And it was incredible. Invariably, and it was just amazing to see, because invariably half the people or a third of the people said, just really build a tower out of paper? That's just easy. Like, that's just not, and they weren't able to do it. And it drove them mad trying to do it. And the ones that said, oh, I don't know if I could do this, built one that was, 4 feet tall. Incredible, like really quite incredible actually in what they did. And in fact, the working together is a real element of it. If you can put people into groups to do it, which is actually what they do in UCD for the engineering, which is part of it as well, because in any kind of an engineering project, you have to have a project leader. It's really important to have a project leader. And then it's really important to have other people to be able to delegate that work out. So you do this bit and then you do this bit and so on, and so on, and so on. And that's really good just to kind of learn those skills and master them together. So I suppose the short answer to that is it's just over a meter. So about 4 foot, maybe about 4 feet tall is the highest I've ever seen somebody do it, actually.
That's impressive.
I think that's more or less all the questions. I think it's just a bit of a chat on live chat more than questions. But yeah, I think that's wow, it's 10:02 already. I think we're coming to the end of this session. Thanks to everyone who joined. Huge thanks to Chris. Very fun. And sometimes they kind of like nail biting, or more for me when I saw you drop that bag of rice. I kind of stopped a bit and go. But that was impressive, and thanks to Moss and Laura. Wow, it's 10:02 already. Yeah. I think we're coming to the end. Is that someone replaying me back? I was gonna say, it's actually
starving back. Now. Yeah.
Someone's giving you a hint. So, more for me. Is that me? It's not me.
I see it.
Who's playing the video? But that was impressive. Hold on. Is that you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm just typing in there as well too. Yeah.
Anyway, the video is still playing in the background.
Oh, that's me playing. Sorry, that is. Yeah.
Because that you.
Sorry, I went on to that was me playing in the background. My apologies. Yeah.
Oh wow. I can see. Oh wow. Lucy Force and class got to 1.24 meters. Amazing.
Ooh.
Well done. That'd be great.
We'd love
to
send
us on a picture. Yeah, definitely.
Send us
we'll
pictures,
share it.
please, guys. If you have pictures, we'd love to see them. That'd be brilliant. Yeah.
Even if you just email it to us, info Dublin Maker. And what's your email address? MakerMeet.
Chris at MakerMeet.ie.
Chris at MakerMeet. If you're not on social media, so social media will be MakerMeet.ie and Dublin Maker. So we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. So you can catch us on those social medias. If you have pictures to post, or else just email to us. But that's great. So I want to wrap up and saying thank you to everyone. Thank you to Chris. Thank you to all who attended this session. Thank you to Tomas and Laura for co-hosting and having good old banter. Slightly gone off to food, which got me really hungry. But
sorry about that. That's my bad.
Yeah. But it is good. So thank you again. I will say, just say thanks and bye for my next. I'm gonna announce tomorrow's session because today is only one maker a day. So thank you again, Chris. So I'm sure we're gonna see each other and collaborate on something in the near future. And good luck with the rest of your events. So yeah, check out MakerMeet, their website on their list of events. Chris has just been really, really busy. You're doing a lot of stuff this week, aren't you? Do you want to do a shout out on what you're doing?
Yeah, so I suppose, look, we're doing kind of in various places around the country. So lockdown has been, we can't go into schools. Obviously, that's what we generally do is go into schools. We bring the materials, we bring the raw materials and the tools, and we get students to make the things themselves, but we can't do that, obviously. So we've kind of moved stuff online. So what we've done with a number of projects is gotten them kind of halfway done, maybe, and then sent those bits of raw materials to the schools, and the schools are doing them. So we're doing kind of, at the moment for Science Week, we're doing 4 or 5 different things. So the paper tower challenge, which we've just done. We're doing building a geodesic dome, and that, they're all the way over there. I can't get them. They're all the way over there. I can show you what one looks like, but it's all the way over there. So geodesic dome built from straws and copper fasteners and paper circuits. So we're doing paper circuits, which I do have that here. That looks like that. That's a paper circuit. So you squeeze that and the light lights up in the lighthouse, basically, and scrappy circuits, which are a similar idea, only they require cables and things to put them together in order to learn about electricity and stuff like that. So yeah, so look, we're doing various different workshops and things like that online. Most of them, to be fair, are kind of booked out at the moment, and they require kits and things like that anyway. But I would suggest to people, because it's the libraries that have asked us to facilitate that. So speak to your local library, because they can apply for funding through Science Foundation Ireland, who does an awful lot for Science Week 2020. And then they can hire us and you get to get us for free, which is brilliant. That's all. That's my shout out.
Great. Same here. Would like to say shout out to Science Foundation Ireland for because we are doing this during Science Week, and they also fund Dublin Maker as well. So I'm going to switch over to tell you what's happening tomorrow. So thank you again to everyone here, and so see you next time. So for tomorrow, we're going to have Jelly Lab. So they're going to show you how to build your own experiments and how do sea creatures react to light. So if you didn't get a chance to buy some of the sea creatures, it's listed. I think all the shopping lists listed on Dublin Maker's blog. You can actually we'll be recording this anyway, but you can but they will be there, be able to answer your questions on live chat tomorrow. It'll be at 12. So don't forget to, if I point to the right place, to subscribe to our channel and hit that that notification bell, and you'll know when the next video is going to come live. So I will see everyone tomorrow at 12. Yeah, and we'll be there with Jelly Lab. So bye.